You're listening to Power Athlete Radio, a podcast dedicated to empowering your performance every damn day. Join former NFL pro and Power Athlete founder John Welborn as he dissects the greatest minds in strength, conditioning, and more. So whether your goal is to be the hammer, destroy mediocrity, or simply move the dirt, you've come to the right place. Now with the warm-up done, let the gains begin.
I put a post out about petty tyranny. I was listening, so we've been doing this fitness thing, and I've been doing a ton of aerobic work. And so I just basically plug into a podcast, and I was working through some Joe Rogan ones, and he had Jordan Peterson on. And what's amazing to me is how much heat Jordan Peterson takes from people, how there's so many people that dislike him. And I'm like, I just don't understand it. Like I listen to what he has to say. It's thoughtful. He is, speaking from a point of authority as a clinical psychologist and what he's done. And like, he's excited about this. Like I really enjoy listening to him speak, but he was talking about showerheads and how like the micromanaging of the government and like all of these regulations for showerheads was an example of petty tyranny. And I love
petty tyranny is a great term.
And it was funny. I was on my way to the DMV. I was like, I got to go to the DMV today. And just the thought of having to go and deal with the DMV, which is the epitome of petty tyranny. You get there, you take a number, the people don't want to be there. It doesn't matter if they serve one person or 100, and you just have to wait. And then you have to get up there and hope that you've got everything that you need.
It's like going to Home Depot.
If time is the enemy, Grindstone is your weapon. It's the most flexible training program in the Power Athlete arsenal. Built for boardroom warriors, sleep-deprived parents, students burning the candle, and athletes with their axe to the grindstone. Grindstone delivers high-impact strength training with minimal time demands. So when life gets chaotic, your progress doesn't fall apart. Consistent, efficient, built to keep you strong, lean, and resilient, no matter what's on your plate. Claim your 7-day free trial at powerathletehq.com/grindstone and take the fight to Father Time.
It's a 2-trip minimum.
Yeah, like nobody goes to Home Depot once.
Man, I didn't figure it out on the first run.
And then you get there and you're like, oh, God damn it, I need to go back and get something else. But yeah, I mean, like that's a classic example. But he was saying that Trump had an eye for petty tyranny. And that makes sense. You think, he's a builder, he's a developer. He's probably, got into something where he's had inspectors come through and red tagged all of his shower heads because they were, putting out a little too much water. Ugh. And so I posted that up, and people were like, DMing me, I can't believe you're posting Jordan Peterson. He's the worst. And he's everything from a racist to a misogynist and this. And I'm like,
I've never gotten a single bit of that from the 2 books I've written.
Yeah. And I've seen him speak twice. I've read both of his books.
He's a great critical thinker.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with every point he's got, but I do like his logic of how he gets there.
This episode of Power Athlete Radio is powered by Train Heroic, the most immersive strength training app experience on the market. We've built an online training business by partnering with Train Heroic to deliver all of our world-class training programs like Jack Street, Hammer, Field Strong, and Grindstone. To learn which Power Athlete training program best suits your goals, head to powerathletehq.com/training. And if you're a coach looking to build a business with the best training tech in the business, head to trainheroic.com/powerathletehq. And now back to the show. I think he's one of the most enlightened speakers of our, like whatever we call this.
Sure.
Like when they go back and, you start talking about the great thinkers of this world, very few times are these great thinkers actually taken for, like their value is understood at the time. It's like, you think
that's
about
most artists or philosophers.
But I mean, you think about Nietzsche and,
totally.
all these different individuals, the impact of their writing was many years after their death. I think Jordan Peterson's impact is like really blossoming in his time. I mean, what he's doing with the Peterson Academy. I mean, he said that.
I think that's really fascinating.
They have 40,000 people signed up.
And I can totally see, because at the end of the day, like people can go like, well, it's not really college. At the end of the day, if an employer says, I like that on your resume, that's all that matters. Like the accreditation from going to college, the reason I went to college was to get a job that paid more money than not going to college.
Well, Going to college is where we played football, where we did sports. So,
Sure.
I mean, like, let's really be honest about
this. It's a secondary thing.
I happen to get these degrees, but going through his the Peterson Academy and seeing who he's brought in as speakers and educators is incredible. I mean,
I'm totally down for figuring out a new approach to education. I think the AI thing's going to be a real complicated mess. What I really hope that does is, instead of this system that we've built around just memorization, as far as education goes, to pass a test and then do the next thing, because now with ChatGPT and the ability to access information, like, information is not the part that's knowledge, it's application of it. And so, like, I hope we switch to something that's more comprehension, where people have to explain themselves or have to talk to the expert, their professor in the moment, and say, this is what this means. Here's how I would argue it. Here's what I don't like about it.
It's called Socratic method. Right. It was a fundamental part of my degree at Berkeley.
Yeah, I think that
like you had to show up.
Need that.
Yeah, you had to show up and argue your points. So now you can sit behind a computer and have ChatGPT put out your paper and send it in, and hope you get a good grade. But to be able to show up and actually understand the information and present it in a meaningful way and be able to argue it.
What I really wonder is how much that'll further divide those who use it the right way and those who get owned by it.
So recently, like I told you, I got approached to curate this page for Sports Illustrated called The Everyday Athlete. So we push a bunch of content on there. And so as I've been going through and I've been doing these writings, I still write my stuff. Grammarly has added an element to my life that I cannot even like put value on. So like Grammarly, I dump all my stuff in. It like changes the structure, fix all my grammatical issues, fixes everything to the point where like ChatGPT and like Grok, like I'm like, you know what? I see the value. I can almost read people's writing now and know exactly whether or not it was written by AI. But that Grammarly piece has, and
Grammarly is a tool I've used for a really long time.
My God.
What I like about chat, as far as creating writing and stuff like that, is a lot of time I want to think it and say it out loud. And so it's like audio to text to record is incredible.
Yeah.
So if I'm working through something in my head and it's going to be some 10-minute kind of wandering diatribe, I'll just record it. And from the transcript, get it to give me the gist to then write from. Yeah. And like having that type of an assistant on hand is incredible.
It's like having a junior assistant. Like, like I've had meetings where we've set up and recorded it, transcribed it in, had it put it into notes and like pushed it out. And I've been like, I mean, it's not 100%.
Sure. So like, God damn, it's close.
It's close, but you have to go through and edit it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but that Grammarly piece, I'm not kidding you. Like it has made my writing so good to the point where like I'll go back and I'll look at the changes. Grammarly. Yeah, Grammarly. I'm like, God damn, if you don't have Grammarly on your side, I like the amount of information that I could have put together, because for me, it's always been the editing piece. Like the writing's easy, but I always had to ship it off to somebody because I can't edit my own shit. And then it takes a week to get it back, and then you go through and you make some changes.
Instead, it's immediate.
Right. I wrote like 5 today.
Yeah. So your output becomes so much faster.
I mean, like I can sit down and write 400 to like 500 words. Probably takes me 30 to 40 minutes. Come back. I'm like, it's pretty good. It's pretty close. And then I put it into Grammarly and it gets 100. Yeah. Like, I mean, to the point where like you're looking and it starts making suggestions and reshaping things. And it's really, really nice.
Yeah.
It's slick.
So what I do wonder over time, so I feel very competent in the English language. I get paid to speak. I've written for a long time.
Yeah.
Communicating in English language, I feel pretty good at. Over time, I can't explain like all the grammar rules, and this is only going to get worse.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what that does long term.
So what's fascinating with the grammar stuff is if you've read a ton, like I think this is one thing which has been interesting with like ChatGPT and AI, and especially with Grammarly. As I've like put information in there and seen the changes, it's now affected my writing.
I noticed that as well.
Because now I'm learning from it.
Yeah.
So it's not as if I'm just like vomiting and it's giving me stuff, but I'm going through and I'm like, oh, okay. And so I've always prided myself on being able to use like semicolons and colons, and I do love how ChatGPT uses dashes and everything.
The M-dash, man, it loves it.
Dude, it's too much.
No, just stop.
Yeah, I'm like,
stop using it.
I like, don't do any dashes.
If you use it again, break your own fingers.
Yes, and but like all of these different rules, and then you think about like, prepositional phrases and how you hang this whole thing in. Like, I'm pretty skilled in that, and it'll be interesting because it'll restructure things, and I'll look at how it restructures it. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. I wouldn't have thought of structuring it like that. So it's been a really good learning model for me too. I look at it like this is a junior assistant, and I need something like I need it to aggregate information. The one thing that did kind of weird me out a little bit, there's a page on Instagram, and I don't know what it is, but it's like outlaw AI to something, and it's like basically like these crazy prompts that these guys drop in, and it kind of shows what happens. And this guy ended up going in and dropping, like, somehow he dropped in the Bible.
Oh.
And then dropped in like the Ethiopian Bible and this, and was like, prove to me which one is right and wrong. I mean, like, to me, I'm like, I don't.
Why would it know?
Yeah. And then, like, compare and contrast. But I feel like people are looking at this, and maybe this is, I did hear people make the assumption that, like, is AI, like, could this be potentially like what we view as God? Like something omnipotent, something that knows everything, that you can ask your questions like the Oracle at Delphi.
Yeah, but the difference in the God versus this thing, right? Like, this only has data of what's already been created.
Yes.
So it's not the same as omnipotent, which is knowing everything.
One day the AI will be tangential, which means it'll be able to learn. Like right now, all it's doing is aggregating all the information on the internet. Like, for example, if you were to, and I've done this, like I had like a talk that I did on, what was it? It was on like what strength coaches can learn from antiquity. And so I took the talk, I dropped the transcript in there, and then ended up having it like kind of build stuff off of that. So like it has that information it can build off of. I'm really fascinated when people start asking these kind of open-end questions like, who are you? Is there really God? Can I learn from this? Like, where's it aggregating this information from?
So my thoughts on that, right? Because it's aggregating information, there isn't anyone saying like, this information's from stupid people. It's aggregating all of it. So it's getting both sides of everything.
Yeah.
And then depending on kind of the subject matter you talk about, I think it kind of curls one way.
Yeah.
It wants you to like it. If it agrees with you more, you'll use it more. And I believe that's kind of built into the software. So you can tell it, like, stop being so fucking agreeable. I need someone that can push me on some of these ideas if they need to be challenged.
I must not be using it right, because I don't use it at all for its opinion. I'm not looking for any information out of it. Like for me, when I, go through and like, let's say like how I used ChatGPT today was, I need you to pull me like the top 10 hottest trends in performance training, fitness, health, and wellness. And like, I do that probably every 4 or 5 days.
It's amazing.
And then I ask like, how many people are searching this? And then I'll kind of curate the content for the everyday athlete towards what people are really going for.
Yeah,
just for the fact that I get to sit down, and I like writing. Right. And the only way you get good at writing is by writing.
Write a book.
Yeah. Well, I'm
man.
Yeah. The power athlete.
I love it. Should write one, man.
So dude, I've told you this. I get to live vicariously through you. And I do it through your social media.
And also I'm honored, man.
Dude, I love it. I love your social media. I love the fact that you guys have had these amazing adventures. Talk to me about it.
It's been fun, man. This year's been a rip. We've finished out Peru.
So you went down and did the ayahuasca adventure.
Yeah, I went down for ayahuasca in March. And then we were in Europe for a summer. So did Paris for like 48 hours, and then Crete, Malta, and Turkey. And then I've got Thailand in December.
Is that where you got your hair implants in Turkey?
Can't wait to get them. Just get this beard thick. Man, you see them all over the place. It's crazy.
Is it fucking weird?
Yeah. It's noticeable that like there's just dudes with like bandaged heads, or like
I saw the pictures,
half circle sunburn.
I saw the pictures of like Turkish Airlines.
Yeah,
a lady posted it, and like every dude had head bandages on.
It wasn't quite that extreme, but man, it's more noticeable than anywhere else I've been, to be like, oh shit, look at that guy's head. That looks terrible.
Yeah. Have you seen, I actually watched, I think it was Chris Bumstead.
He went over there.
Yeah, he went over there and they actually filmed it. And I clicked on and watched it. It looks
awful.
Awful.
Yeah.
Like I just fucking.
I'm stoked. I've been bald before, man. I shaved it for fucking years.
Yeah.
I will happily just go back that route.
Fuck that.
But I'm over here with a nice head of hair.
Yeah, and I got a good head of hair too. Yeah. So, I mean, it's real easy from our ivory tower.
But Turkey was cool, man. I really like the Cappadocia area. So that's where like people were all living in caves and kind of at some point.
Did you go to where the Roman baths are? Is it Roman baths?
It's Ephesus.
Yeah.
Yes, we went there too. Ephesus is what it is. That's more toward. So Cappadocia is kind of in the east of Turkey, and then Ephesus is in more toward the coast, southern of Istanbul.
Okay.
It's a huge country. It's the size of Texas.
Yeah.
So we had like 2 domestic flights and getting around, but that Roman city with the baths and everything like that. It's really
the pictures are incredible. I have it like earmarked as like one of like the adventures I want to go on.
So they have like this big statue of Hades. Mm-hmm. And he's sitting with Cerberus next to him, and there's a spring underneath him, and then like a tunnel that goes under him, kind of under it. Needless to say, but the water in the spring is bubbling, but it's not boiling; it's carbonated. Mm-hmm. And so, like people thought going into this tunnel was this passage into the afterlife, because any animals that got near the water and got in the cave fucking died from carbon monoxide. Oh. There's no oxygen.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're like, something's up there, the passage of the underworld. We stay away from that water. It's boiling, but it isn't hot. It doesn't stink. Like, yeah, man, I bet that's confusing as fuck.
Yeah.
And then at that site, because of that mineral overflow in these springs, like this whole side of this cliff is covered in this like white mineral. Like it's 2 kilometers worth of cliff that's just bright white ivory calcium buildup. Really fascinating looking. And then seeing all that stuff there and realizing how many times it's been built on and rebuilt on and all of this.
Do you ever feel like when you travel how insignificant our time on Earth is?
Yeah.
That like where you see that like the entirety of human existence and how many people have come there and lived and died and built. I mean, civilizations lost, civilizations we don't know about. And then here we are, and people are fretting about like the most minute things, and we're here for such a small time.
We're here for such a short time, and kind of I've landed on just really appreciating that everything's temporary. So I think eventually we're going to transition to auto-driving cars at some point in the future. I don't know if that's 10 years or 50 years.
I hope not.
I bet we will. Look, we have constantly erred on the side of safety and convenience over personal freedom. This will be better for money. It also, once all the cars communicate, then traffic accidents essentially kind of go away.
I don't know if I'll ever get to the point where I would let something autonomously drive me.
I've done it.
I would be scared to death of just something randomly driving me.
They're really good at it. I've done it. It's interesting. But so even looking at that we eventually kind of go that way, right? The window of opportunity that we were into combustion engines and like had cars and designed stuff and then modified shit and did all this, it's going to be, there was this weird period of time that people were doing this wild stuff with vehicles. Yeah. But it'll be basically 1 generation or 2 generations of people.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, so DJ and I talk about this. The cars that are most expensive and the ones that people want are the cars that either they couldn't afford when they were young or they remember seeing when they were little.
Oh, yeah. Cars are total inner child.
Yeah. So like now, like a square body truck has like huge value. The cars from like the 40s and or even the 30s, the 40s and the 50s, like if you look at like a 34 Ford or a 40 this or a 50 this, don't really have a ton of value anymore. Like a lot of the guys that are trying to sell them now, who are these kind of, 60, 70, 80-year-old boomers who, want 100,000 or 50,000, nothing.
No, and people don't want them.
Well, it's because they don't even know what it is.
Right.
And so a lot of like the old 30 cars are kind of popping up. And so DJ will send them to me all the time. He's like, man, do you remember when like a 37 Ford, 3-window coupe would go for like 75,000? Like this dude can't move it for 30. And I'm like, there will be a time where that guy can't sell that thing for $10,000.
So should we start finding cool like 2000s models cars and getting them ready to go for like 2030?
Do you realize that one of the...
It's once people hit like 35 to 40, they start spending money on the inner child shit.
So. Well, like for me, I saw a Grand National, which came out in like...
That's a fucking cool car, man.
Like 86, 87 Grand National. Like I saw one and like my heart went pitter patter because I remember those cars when I was a little kid. My neighbor had one with black wheels and we thought it was the coolest car.
Because it was.
It was. And so I was still DJ. I'm like, my secret passion is to have a Grand National. He's like, oh, they're so overpriced.
DeLoreans will be cool forever. I really wonder if the Cybertruck will end up in some weird category.
Every time I see those things, I just think that they are so ugly.
I do too. But I get what he was trying to do. And also they get the attention. They are that polarizing. They're all the things that would generate enough money to keep shooting rockets in space.
Did you see that people started LS swapping them and putting Cummins diesel motors in them?
Sick.
Yeah. So if you go on YouTube, there's people that were like ripping the stuff out and actually putting like
the electric motors are dope. It's just using the tool for what it's actually for.
Yeah.
It's not a big tow vehicle. It's not supposed to replace like
if you think what Elon's doing is pretty smart. Right? Because if you're going to go and populate Mars, you're not going to have fossil fuels.
No.
Right? You can set up solar banks.
It'd be a real pain in the ass to get up there.
So, I mean, like everything that he's doing, I think is designed to be able to go to Mars.
Mars, man.
And why he wants to go to Mars, I don't know. He
so
must know something.
I think overall, it's that idea of populating a second planet improves the species survival rate infinitely. Because something's going to happen here that wipes us out.
Yeah. Well,
it has happened many times before. It's going to happen again. And then we're going to get reset. But if you have people on two, it's very rare that something's going to happen to both at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it would improve our statistically.
What do you think about them sending back all those Mars pictures and some of the pictures? I don't know if you saw them going through, like there's a structure there.
A square.
It's a big square. That's like 2 kilometers.
Yeah, man.
I mean, and nothing in nature
does that. No, for sure.
No. I mean, but we also don't know what their nature is. But that and some guy found it. Like somebody carved through. And I think it's
really hard for us to think about time scale the right way. I mean, there's also a really interesting idea that there's a big asteroid cluster between us and Mars, in that belt. And one of the theories is that those asteroids are the remnants of a planet that Mars was the moon for. Oh. And it blew up, or whatever was on it blew it up. And so like Mars is kind of interesting because one side of it's completely smooth and not impacted or done anything with. It looks like sand. And then there's these giant craters cut through it. Mm. And that would be from shrapnel essentially of the other planet.
Does it rotate?
Hitting it. Mars rotates.
Yeah, it rotates.
Yeah. Mars rotates. It's a little bit different than us. I think it's like 23 and change for like a single day.
Okay.
But that's one of those weird theories because also like the density of Mars isn't centered in the core. Like one half of it is much denser material than the other. So like the backside of it isn't. It's this big spray of whatever blew up from that planet that was its moon.
Wow.
Yeah, that one's an interesting theory.
Yeah, no, that's one I got to research a little bit. I have not done enough discovery on that.
For me, I really enjoyed leaning into like, I just don't know shit about fuck. Dude, we have no fucking clue of humans' like own timeline on the planet.
Yeah.
For me to think we have a bunch of shit figured out about places that we haven't stepped yet, I think we've got some really educated guesses, but at the end of the day, we're wrong about the place we're already on and investigating as heavily as possible.
Well, I mean, we can't even figure out how to do how to reconstruct the pyramids. I mean,
I think we could reconstruct them. I think we have machinery that we could get it done.
Well, we could, but I mean, have you ever seen like the machines that they need to move things of that size? Like
dude, they move like oil rig, like the shipping container boats. We have cranes that'll lift those.
Yeah.
So like we could move these rocks. Like we could technically get the job done now.
Yeah, but we couldn't set multi-ton stones every 4 minutes, 24 hours a day for 30 years. Like
that's a bit complicated.
Yeah. So I mean, like the fact that they still haven't figured out how that was constructed is a huge fucking blind spot for me.
So my biggest trying to look at all the stuff that I've seen as far as like the ancient civilization stuff and big rocks and getting to travel. And
did you get a chance to go to globe-trotting?
Didn't go to Göbekli Tepe. It's a long way from anything.
How am I saying that?
Göbekli Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe.
It's on the list. I'd like to go back to Turkey and like do a road trip.
Mm-hmm. How was Turkey? Was it dangerous?
No, I didn't find Turkey dangerous. I found Istanbul to not be my cup of tea.
Why was that?
Because it's a city of 15 million people. I don't particularly like any of them that size.
I just didn't know if somebody was picking your pocket every 10 minutes.
It was fine. I never felt sketchy there. I felt way more sketchy in Iquitos in Peru than I did in Istanbul. People were really nice, but it's a bit more Eastern European feeling. So like there's a lot of stuff where they'll be like, this is very nice. And you know that it's just spray painted gold.
Yeah.
Essentially. And like, you'll go down a street and they'll have restaurants, except for if it's kebab shops, there's 20 of them. And they're all here. They're all named different, but they all have the exact same menu. And so I was trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with this. And it says like, Turkish people are not interested in new. They want to know this is what it is. And so like, if one business works, it's not inspired by, it is do that. And so like you go into the big grand bazaar or any of this type of shit, and there's 200 shops in this old ass building from like the year 500, and it's beautiful, but you can't decipher shop to shop. They're selling the exact same things. They're organized in the exact same way as far as like spices and things like that go. And so like, there's only like 4 shops out of these 200 that are variations. And to me, I'm like, how the fuck does anyone sell anything here? Like, wouldn't this create such strange competition versus what we do? Where it's like, no, we want to be the only one in there doing the unique thing.
Sure.
But seeing it that way, I thought that was really fascinating.
How long were you in Istanbul?
We were in Istanbul for 2 days, and then we came back and did another 3 or 4. So, didn't find the food good at the first cup. Like, it's a big city, right? Like, and so you're just running into it. You can find bad food in Manhattan too, and you can find the greatest food in Manhattan. So like, I think both exist. The city's beautiful. The history of it's really wild. Oh, it's like anywhere they dig, they find something. So it's like, if we're trying to build something, like we need to just go up. Yeah. It's going to be a problem.
Well, I mean, think about how many different cultures have dominated there. I mean, Christians, Muslims, Moors. I mean, just.
And more to that point, like whatever's there right now won't be the last. Like, we don't have any evidence to support that place has been a stronghold by someone permanently. It's all temporary. I thought it was really cool going into the Basilica Cistern is my favorite thing that I saw there. And it's this underground area for the cistern, and there's 360 or so columns that were borrowed from different places when the Romans came in. And so like all these columns vary because they took them from different temples and different sites and different things and made this giant aquifer underground. And some of the things were on monuments. There's one that's like a Medusa head that's for the bottom base of it, but it was put sideways so that it took away its power or something like that. But I think seeing all that's interesting. I think seeing the buildings that were like, oh, this was from 510. And they're like, well, it got redone in 1100. I'm like, okay. Yeah. That's when we restored it.
Well, and I'm going to mess it up again.
Göbekli.
Göbekli?
Yeah, Göbekli Tepe.
Okay. One of the theories now is that they think that was actually the altar for Noah. So because
the Noah story gets interesting with the mountains in Turkey, right? Yeah, like that's the idea where the boat landed.
And each of the columns have different carvings of different animals that were allegedly, 2 by 2. I think it's always a great story that the 2 penguins swam from Antarctica just so they could get on the boat with Noah.
Seems easier to a guy who invented all life in a day just to make another polar bear, in my opinion.
Yeah. Right. So
I think there were most likely lots of Noahs.
Well, if you believe that, Noah, and then also you get into the idea that I think that it was. Well,
there's like 200 cultures that have a flood myth and a Noah character.
Yeah. And they were also what I forgot what the term for it is, but giants.
Nephilim.
Yeah. The Nephilim.
Yeah, the Nephilim would be the giants.
So Noah would be considered a Nephilim, like a giant. So that's how they were able to move this and be able to build something in the stature, and they go through. But what they were going back to is that they feel that this site in Turkey, one of the first, megalithic structures on the planet.
The oldest that we have.
Yeah, which kind of destroys the entire narrative that they have, that these were hunter-gatherer tribes.
You don't do
and
that.
the crazy part is that they built it and then they buried it.
Right.
And if you go look at all the columns that they were going through all have different pictures of different animals. So the theory goes, the reason that maybe that the Turkish government does not want to excavate it is because if they figure out that this is a anchor for Christianity and the myths of the Bible, this kind of flows against a Muslim dominated country.
Yeah, except for like the Book of Islam, the whole Old Testament still is part of it.
Yeah,
and so the story would still back that thing. Aren't
all the books? Aren't these all children of Abraham?
I know. In the Ethiopian Bible, there's a number of wild ass things. Book of Enoch.
Yeah, I went back and read the Book of Enoch.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
Well, it's not part of any other canon, and
the only canon it would touch would be like Epic of Gilgamesh and then the Sumerian stuff.
Well, but the Jews don't recognize.
No. Right.
So like where that book came from and how it popped up and how it made
found it with the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
With the Book of Enoch was in the Dead Sea Scrolls?
I believe so. Somebody have to check that. I'm not an archaeologist by any means.
You've been to the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
Is it amazing?
Yep. Not overrated in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
They're so much fucking bigger. So the last night we were there, we stayed at a really nice hotel that had a pyramid view. Mm. And all I did was just sit on the balcony and stare at them. Unbelievable, man. They're every bit as amazing as I've ever thought they could be. They're huger than I can imagine. And the going into it, and then after doing the other stuff in Egypt, like the temples, and then doing...
Didn't you guys take like a Nile cruise?
Yeah, we took a Nile cruise, which was one of my favorite experiences of all time. That was great. Jumping off a boat and swimming in the Nile and then drinking coffee with some random Nubian dudes on the beach and smoking a shisha. Excellent day.
Yeah.
But between like temples and tombs and the pyramids, which are basically the three things that you have that are old, the temples and tombs are like covered in hieroglyphs everywhere. Floor, ceiling, every square inch of these places is covered and painted and done. And there's nothing in the pyramid. I just don't think that's what it was. It wasn't a tomb.
No, I don't think anybody other than...
it's a power center, if I'm really honest.
Well, they did have casings on top of it and they were white. There's some different ideas.
Well, and if it's granite and it's high quartz granite and you're compressing it, it produces an electrical current.
Well, can you imagine if the Egyptians came along and like those things had always been there?
Well,
I
think that's a really
John
fun
Schock
theory too, that they found them.
Well, it was John Schock, I think, was the a geologist that I listened to on Rogan that talked about like the weather patterns, that like the erosion on the Sphinx was due to water.
It's sitting water.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of more popular that the idea that the Sphinx was already there. And that's why the head is so scaled small.
Well, it's because it's been redone so many times.
The Egyptians.
But there was another one. So they showed
there's supposed to be a second.
There's supposed to be a second one that they think was destroyed.
Right.
But if you look, it should be two cats.
Yep. Yeah, they usually do them in doubles.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
And there's a graded plateau that's identical. Like they can see, like I don't know how it is, but like there was some like aerial picture I saw where they showed where it was and they kind of superimposed it. Like that area is there.
That area, the Giza Plateau, is super interesting. Going down to Aswan to the quarry. Now, seeing that stuff where it looks like there's scoop marks out of the rocks.
Almost like they heated them up.
Or something. Whatever looks like it was mushy.
Yeah.
And the idea that you're trying to tell me that it was done with a pounding stone.
Yeah.
Like come on, man.
And they're like.
But like there's also like other areas where there's massive overcuts on stone in construction. And so like you'll see an overcut on another piece that's 10 inches deep. You don't do that with a hand saw and friction and weight that takes a couple hours per millimeter. What, you guys overcut that by 10 days?
Yeah.
No, that shit happened fast.
Well, and then also the other pyramids.
There's a lot of them.
I mean, they're
There's
all
128 of them.
And what's crazy is the first ones
Are the best.
Are the best ones.
That's kind of all the stuff with Egypt.
And then as you go in time, like they were showing the different pyramids, they got successively worse. It was as if people showed up and they were there, and then the pharaohs were like, we want these. And they were just worse over time.
So that idea that the technique of building them would get worse over time, and that's kind of counterintuitive. But if I look at like our own culture, like we're losing craftsmanship.
And so class example, like going to the moon.
Yeah. So like as things get better.
So Ken Ford and I talked about this because I asked Ken, he Institute of Human and Machine Cognition, DARPA funded research, was one of like the presidential advisors for NASA. And so I asked him, like, how come we can't go back to the moon? And he goes, we don't have the technology. And I said, how did we lose the technology? He goes, imagine this. When we went, those mathematicians and the astrophysicists and all this were doing those equations in real time on chalkboards and scratch paper. He goes, literally, they were doing the equations like in real time. And there's a movie about it. Mm-hmm. And he goes, all of that was on paper. And then he goes, they put them in boxes. A whole thing happened. We moved to computers, and then computers went in this way. They never took that information and put it into the computers.
We just don't have it.
And he goes, and the problem is that the people that are doing this now didn't learn this stuff. He's like, he's like, these people are over there with abacus and slide rules and like doing this stuff in real time. He's like, that's just one or two generations. There was a technological advancement that made this obsolete.
But we've been around as a species for a really long time. Something that blew me away recently was saying that, so we think there's like a few million Tyrannosaurus Rex that would have existed during the timeline of T-Rex. We have like 60 fossils and like one complete. So if something were to happen, like there's probably no chance that you would find human fossils.
Hold on, I'm going to pull this up. I can't remember the name of what they, there's a term in here that they have. It's, the mentor. Okay. So what are you saying about,
so T-Rex? That like, I mean, with us, like say if some cataclysm happens, something wipes us out.
Do you know my favorite part about T-Rexes are? We always thought they had little arms. They're not little arms.
They're wings.
They're wings.
Yeah.
They were all big birds.
They're all fucking birds. I believe that.
Yeah. Like if you look at chickens, like imagine a chicken that's like 35
Terrifying.
Feet tall.
Look at an emu.
Yeah.
You can easily make that jump to like, fuck that thing.
Yeah. Like that's what a T-Rex was.
With
they're like, oh,
big
like
eyes.
they showed these little arms. Like, look at these little baby arms. I'm like, those are wings.
Yeah. We just assume they're reptiles. So we keep finding more stuff that they had feathers.
Yeah.
Planet of Giant Birds is honestly more scary, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I saw a bunch of artist renditions of what they thought that like based off of the skeletons with birds. That's way more terrifying.
I'm so glad we don't have like pterodactyls. Well, we wouldn't coexist with those, right? Like we would get rid of them.
Well, but even the pterodactyls, they make them look like flying reptiles.
Right. They're not. They're
like, so if you go down to Houston,
or bats.
They have like the Houston Museum of Natural Science, and they have all these fossils. The issue is, you can tell pretty accurately that the fossils that they're presenting are not real fossils.
Of course not.
Right. They're fiberglass. And so you ask like, how come the real fossils aren't? And the guy's like, do you know how priceless these things are? They take molds. You think like these things are worth.
We're not leaving them out here.
Yeah. He's like, like what if somebody grabs one? But one of the favorite ones is they have the short-faced bear, which was in North America.
Short-faced bear is a really interesting animal.
Yeah. They ran like 45 miles an hour and they were, something like a ton. They were like 2,000 pounds. They were, stood 12 feet tall. They talked about the short-faced bear was so terrifying that they felt that like humans didn't really populate North America until they started to decline.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty proud that the things I'm worried about are like social media and obesity. I'll have to fight 0 short-faced bears most likely for the rest of my existence.
Yeah, fuck, dude, like that. Yeah, but I mean the fossil stuff is pretty interesting, especially with a lot of like the carbon dating.
Well, so like we find so few of it, but that was kind of my original point.
Well, they'll find like a finger bone,
but they won't find us. So like if something happens, there won't be any record of us.
Yeah.
In the bones. We've only been around for like 2 million years. The dinosaurs were around for 250 million years. We don't have a full T-Rex.
Really?
We can compile one, but we have like one almost complete.
Oh, really?
And then like we only have like 60 of them that we've ever found of millions that would have existed. So like it has to fall into mud. It has like to become a fossil is very complicated to begin with.
Yeah, like La Brea tar pits.
Right.
Like those animals got pulled into those tar pits and that's how they were able to.
And so, yeah, we wouldn't have any history of tons of shit. That's us. Like none of it would make it. And we know the cities would completely dissolve in 1,000 years.
Oh, it would take even less time.
And that's as if nothing catastrophic happened to like help speed the process up.
I'm pretty sure if I left this ranch for an entire year,
6 months.
Oh my God.
Just completely.
I'd come back everything would just take over. Like the amount of like
Earth
fire,
is constantly trying to just take over your property.
Like I have like chainsaws, fires, machines that I have to beat this property back from. I mean, we got all of this rain, destroyed my road, I was out like looking at the destruction and I'm like, oh, I mean, thank God we didn't take nearly the destruction some people did.
No, crazy,
but like,
man.
Some of the stuff that I have to fix is like, oh God.
Yeah, my buddy Spencer down in New Braunfels said they got like 30 inches at his house in 20 hours.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, we're really lucky because
so you guys are getting major rain and snow every year. This is pretty exciting for us.
But like where the property is, the creek is down here, but we're angled. I mean, there's drainage, so like the water just runs around us and goes down into the creek, and the creek filled up, and it was looking pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, like my wife's like, how like what do you think would have to happen for this creek to like flood us? I'm like, oh, that thing would have had to rise 40 feet.
Yeah, you're talking about a ton of water to get up here. I mean, even just looking around at the landscape around here, like there's lots of place for water to go as a low-lying area before it would get here.
Yeah, like if you're low, you were screwed. Like where we are is like everything's angled down.
Yeah, man, that's gnarly. The weather changes are very, very interesting. What we're seeing, I mean, we're seeing more of it. I don't know if that speeds up or what continues. I also don't know how much we're at fault. I don't think we're helping.
Well, I mean,
again, look, all the save the planet shit, I really appreciate because I like Earth.
Yeah.
But what we really mean is save us. It's going to happily continue and not give a fuck. Earth is going to be just fine.
No, she will scrape us.
Yep.
And she'll return back to
what
she needs.
We'll totally repopulate. And when it gets rid of this weird parasite that we are, we're the only species that takes more than we should. Like we're a problem. We're interesting as the only one with this much consciousness.
Yeah.
But what we're into, which, I mean, essentially capitalism or what Terrence McKenna would call is like how Western dominator culture of like bending nature and everything to serve us more than anything else and not working in harmony and any of that with it. And so we keep doing.
Well, I mean, for the most part, like if you look at animals, I mean, they hunt for what they need.
Totally.
Like on occasion.
Other than house cats.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Fucking monsters.
But on occasion they'll find like, oh, there are these lions that we're killing for sport. And they make it seem like it was this terrible thing. And it's like, humans been killing a lot of things for sport. I mean, you think about all
mostly
the
megafauna.
Yeah. I mean, think of the megafauna that we've run into.
But they're just the buffalo that we have accounts of.
Yeah. 70 million.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean,
just wiped them out.
Have you ever seen the pictures of the buffalo skulls?
The skull, the mountains of them.
Mountains of skulls.
Well,
I mean, it was the only way we were going to get rid of the red man.
Well, and then
we had to get rid of their food source.
But also that mixed with the popularity of styling of using buffalo skin and stuff by the white American colonialists that came in increases popularity. So the fur traders go and hunt more.
Yeah.
And all due to fun consumerism.
Well,
we weren't even fucking eating them, man.
No. They were just ripping the hides off.
Just getting rid of them. And genocide. That's something else America's been pretty good at.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if we want something, we just go take it.
But that also makes us a really interesting. So it makes us a really interesting culture with the more that I've traveled, because there isn't anything to dig down here that was here, like in Athens or any of these other places. Sure. Like they've all been swapped hands so many times. So we're the first draft of like a culture.
When you did your
or civilization,
your month long, like how many countries did you guys hit?
4. So France, Malta, Turkey, and Greece.
What was your favorite?
Malta's really cool. Malta's is kind of cool, own little tiny island, and plus it has a bunch of the big megalithic sites on it. So there's like 19 of them. They have these cart ruts we went and checked out. They've got Gigantea. It's this other big rock structure. We didn't get to see any of the weirdness in Turkey because we didn't make it to any of those sites. But we went to Cappadocia and saw like the mountains and like where people were living in caves and all that type of stuff. And then where the Christians got pushed out and sent to Greece and then swapped with the Muslims from Greece. They just switched them as countries. They're like, we'll take the Christians and you take these guys. Meanwhile, the Romans were hunting down Christians in that area.
Yeah.
Because they were still pagan at the time before Constantine came in and decided Catholicism or Christianity was the thing.
Sure. I think it was on his deathbed.
Oh, okay.
Christianity was destroying the Roman Empire. And I think even converting to Christianity on his deathbed was like more of a olive branch. Like, let's not destroy
I know
this.
it's like a big deal to his mom too. Like that has to do with like the Hellenistic architecture because that would have been his mom and she was big into the Christianity thing.
That was like Temple of Eleusis and a lot of that. I mean, that was all we were talking about the mortality.
That's
key.
all the weird stuff. Yeah, that was.
Did you get a chance to see all that?
Yeah, so we saw Temple of Eleusis in Athens. There's another one like the Temple of the Winds or something like that. That was
another one. Did you drink any of the wine?
I did drink quite a bit of wine in Athens. Nice. I had a good time. Athens, I like, man.
Yeah,
yeah. I didn't find Athens to have like any pretension of trying to be something it isn't. It was just a cool city and like. The hill with everything up on it with
like the Parthenon.
It's amazing. It's really cool.
What month did you go?
It was hotter than fuck. It was like July, June.
Oh,
it was 1,000,000 degrees.
So you went at like the peak of summer where it was packed.
Yeah.
I remember when we went to Paris. I wanted to go to the Louvre.
The Louvre's a lot.
The line.
Yeah.
I remember being like,
the Louvre's too much. Like I went, I didn't 10 years ago, and then Bonnie and I didn't go.
It's a lot to take in.
But you can't appreciate it.
Yeah,
because there's too much. Like you walk past just wall-sized beautiful painting after wall-sized beautiful painting, and you can't decipher any of it at some point.
Yeah,
and I don't get much out of that. Though we went to the catacombs in Paris.
Oh,
that was really cool. There's like 6.5 million skeletons in the catacombs below Paris.
Who were these, like early Christians?
I think they were just Parisians that they moved because things were starting to cave in. And so the Romans built these catacombs for quarrying. So the catacombs existed because of all the quarrying the Romans did for stone.
Mm.
And so parts of Paris were starting to fall in. And I believe they started going to put post and restructure and do all this. And then they moved all of these skeletons from various places they had down there. So like French Revolution, everything else, like all these.
We don't know what to do with these bodies, so we'll just throw them down there.
Yeah. And like they're neatly stacked. It's very interesting that it's like this pretty ornate wall of skulls and femurs and things. And then behind it is just like, dump the rest of them back there, boys. But walking down there, man, I couldn't help but think of like every single one of these had dreams and ambitions and thoughts and fears.
Somebody's son.
Had a full existence, right?
Somebody's daughter.
And then eventually you're just part of the infrastructure. Like they talk about the catacombs being like the tomb of equality. Mm. And I really dug that. That like, ain't no separation down there. You're in a mixed bag of bones with 8 million other people. 6.5 million other bones. And what a temporary time that you're an individual. What a temporary time that you have any of those things before eventually returning to being part of the infrastructure again, of Earth or anything else. So I got a lot out of that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, like I was telling you about Dr. Sabine telling me about the microbes off the fruits and vegetables that are in your gut. Those are the ones that, like, when you die, end up digesting you. So the microbes that end up digesting you in the soil are inside you.
Start working early.
And certain people, they just start working early.
Is it? You think it's from like an overload, or there's just not enough resisting them anymore?
I think it's
like mitochondrial starts failing.
It could be diet,
anything else,
or like it maybe just the fact that like you get old and you see a lot of fruits and vegetables and you don't wash them. Because she talked about like old vegans. She's like, you ever been around an old vegan, like an old vegetarian? They really smell weird.
Oh, no way.
And I was like, oh yeah, I do. I like. She's like, maybe. And
I just thought it was patchouli.
Yeah. Well, but she's like, maybe like their teeth aren't as strong. She's like, like a big thing now. She's like, do you remember? This is interesting. I asked my mom about this, but do you remember like dentures were like a real big deal?
Yeah, I remember people had quite a bit of them.
Like people don't have dentures anymore. So I asked my mom, like, what happened? She's like, people were really lazy with their teeth, and they were like, just pull them out. I'll just get dentures.
Fuck it.
Yeah, just like, fuck it. I won't have to brush my teeth. I'll just like take them out. And she's like, so like old people had dentures because it was cheaper just to pull them out and give me dentures. And give me
fake teeth.
Just give me fake. Yeah, I'll just pop them out, clean them.
Oh, weird.
But then the problem is with dentures, you don't really start chewing meat. And they have to eat like a lot of broth and a lot of vegetables and a lot of the other stuff. So
but think about what that would do to you in any other species if you lost your teeth. Like that's the beginning of the end.
That's it.
Yeah,
when dogs start breaking their teeth, that's it.
Yeah, you got to be able to digest.
The other one that weirds me out is so I was like looking at some pictures of my grandparents. I'm like, I was probably they had to be in their like 50s. They might as well have been 400 years old.
They look a million,
dude. Like I was like, I asked my mom, like, how old was Dad's parents? She's like, I think they were probably in their 50s right there. And I was like they had been like,
oh yeah,
like
they look old as fuck.
Yeah, my grandfather retired at like 50, and like he might as well have been 400. They're over there in like polyester outfits, driving shitty brown cars,
gray and like
my grandmother's wearing a muumuu. I'm like, I mean, this is like these people were like
transitioned into grandparent way early on.
Yeah, you're like 40 years old. You're
which they may as well have been 40.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's very different.
Whereas I meet people now, and it's like
you got Brian Johnson's going to live forever.
Oh, he's such a weird dude.
What an interesting choice.
Yeah,
what a weird thing to invest all your time in.
Yeah,
like you're not going to make it, man. I hate to break this to you.
And then the crazy part is how proud he is of these like extremely like interesting milestones that only he measures into. Like my left ear is 12 years younger than anybody else at my age's left ear. Like, I mean, just weird. He also there's like and I know he probably doesn't. There's some weird plastic surgery going on.
Sure.
He's got like kind of like a Mike O'Hearn look.
Yeah, he's also just looks like a vampire. Like he's out of the sun. Like there's too much optimization there for me to know you're going to die anyway.
Yeah. The other one I don't buy into is he's a vegetarian.
Is that one of the claims?
Yeah.
I haven't really paid much attention to what he does.
He has his calories. And he talks about each calorie fighting for like survival against each calorie. His calories are exactly matched. So, I mean, there is a bunch of interesting information that talks about, calorie restriction. But then I also think.
So what did he do to make a shit ton of money?
I think he did something within technology.
Okay.
We could look it up.
Some mystery.
But then the weirder part is, isn't there another Brian Johnson, the Liver King?
There is another Brian Johnson, the Liver King. These two are very similar, it seems. How about that fucking guy recently?
Dude.
No shit, that guy's a fake? Come on, people.
Well, and the weird part is he made like hundreds of millions of dollars. He killed it with that business.
Fucking liar.
Right? But like, I don't know who didn't know that guy was on drugs. I was like, I thought it was a spoof. Like when they came out, like, in the Derek for More Plates and Dates, it was like, yeah, no, this guy is on a bunch of steroids. I'm like,
no shit.
Like, did anybody not think he was on drugs?
I don't even understand how he could pretend to not be. You look terrible.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of that came from the diet. So I'll just give you a little sidebar.
Just too much iron?
Years ago, well, I think vitamin A toxicity was a big part of his problem. And I'll just give you a little idea.
Well, I would say that. I bet there's melanotan.
Yeah. He was fucking, but so years ago, we did this idea that was called bulking on a budget, where we were trying to figure out like how you could effectively get big and jacked, like eating
the cheapest way possible.
Yeah, the cheapest. And we came to the conclusion that beef liver was by far the pound for pound, the cheapest, best bang for your buck for
nutrient
dense food.
Okay.
So McQuilkin ends up taking this advice and going and just buying beef liver. And he was eating like 3 to 4 ounces of beef liver a day to supplement his diet. Then the guys from Thorne came in and they were doing a bunch of gut testing. And so they got us all of our, gut testing and then wanted to come on the podcast to discuss it. So Chris gets his gut test. He had vitamin A toxicity from eating the liver.
Too much.
If you go into that, I mean, like I don't know if you ever saw like Liver King. I was constantly wearing an eye patch.
Yeah.
I think one of the side effects is your eye loses like the
muscle structure or whatever,
and collapses. So there was a bunch of liver toxicity, vitamin A toxicity. If you look at him, he fits that, like all of that liver and what he was eating. He was trying to portray this as like, this perfect human diet. I mean, he fucked himself up.
Well, what I don't understand is, again, kind of back to the old Nickelback philosophy of, I don't understand why there's a market for people that look at that dude and think like, he's got something I need to learn. I look at that guy and I go, fuck, no thanks.
Well, yeah, but what was crazy was a bunch of these like younger kids, like he was like, like they were all bought in on this idea. Like who, first of all,
we need better education.
The fact that he was doing like hundreds of million, like a couple $100 million in selling those fucking supplements is crazy to me. Remember?
Well,
and he was like, hey, primals.
And like also like part of his business plan was to lie to people.
Yeah.
No, you're a fucking scumbag.
Yeah. And he's also like 4'10".
Is he?
Yeah, he's tiny. Well, I didn't realize how small he was.
I didn't know that either.
And then he was like, he was walking around Austin. He wears like a weighted vest everywhere he goes.
Yeah, real cool.
Yeah. So
seems like a great guy to hang out with. I'd love that. Well, such fun conversations.
Well,
I'm sure.
he came to Austin looking to fight Joe Rogan.
Saw all that.
And so he's like, he felt that Joe Rogan wronged him because he never had him on his podcast.
That's such a weird, can you imagine feeling that way?
Yeah. Well, he was like, Joe Rogan's, hurt my family. And he's, the fact that he hasn't had me on is like, hurt my business. And so
what hurt your business is being a goddamn liar.
Yeah. Well, he sent like I said, he sent Derek from More Plates, More Dates. Hey, I want to do this steroid cycle. Can you coach me? Mm-hmm. And then I think the guy didn't look at it. Then all of a sudden, like he probably looked at his fucking junk ball and was like, Brian Johnson, Liver King, fucking emailed me a couple years ago about buying drugs.
Oh, yep.
And then that's how we kind of outed him.
Man, so we were talking about earlier, the telepathy tapes.
Yes.
So that's one of those that's super interesting. I highly recommend giving a listen.
Okay, so what is it?
So the idea behind the lady...
give me a searchable. What is it?
It's Spotify. It's a podcast, Telepathy Tapes.
Telepathy Tapes.
So she's doing research on these nonverbal autistic kids and is trying to determine whether or not they have telepathic ability.
The Telepathy Tapes is a podcast series exploring the possibility of telepathic communication in non-speaking individuals with autism.
So the way that they're speaking, they're communicating, there's some of them that can learn to do spelling. Mm-hmm. And so they have like a board or an iPad or something like that, and they can spell, because what they're lacking is fine motor skills. So they can't get their mouth to do what they want or their body to quite write or do any of these things. Kind of like the body's doing whatever it wants to. And then gross motor skills with being able to point and spell, they can do. And so one of the tests they run, like in the first episode, is mom's got a random image, number, variety of thing generator. And she does it and looks at it. And the daughter will immediately spell out what it is. Like without ever seeing anything other than just whatever her mom saw. Like she just has it. Like she's shared into the consciousness.
Wow. Well, I mean, so my thought is, I believe everybody has this. I think it's just like the senses that we are like most developed are the ones that we tend to use. Like, sure. I mean, because this has happened a million times. Like people lose their sight and their hearing fucking turns incredible, or they lose the hearing and their sight becomes better.
Along that lines, a story I was reading recently where the main character's blind. Great quote from it that I've been noodling on for a while too. And it says, the brain evolved to keep us alive, not tell us the truth. And I really like that.
Say that again?
Our brains evolved to keep us alive, not tell us the truth.
Oh, that makes sense.
So perception of reality versus what is reality.
Yeah. Have you, not to sidebar too far, but have you ever encountered somebody who's recounting like that's retelling you a story and you know the story and you're like, I cannot believe how fucking fucked up.
Yeah, their version of it is.
This is.
Totally. But I mean, look at eyewitness testimony in court. It's the same deal, right? Yeah. It's not that they're lying. This is literally what their perception of the events were. It's true to them. we all perceive different things for whatever things we're paying attention to for whatever variety of reasons. But so with these kids, the main character in the story I was reading, she's blind, born blind, and has learned how to echolocate. When we have
like Sonic.
Yeah. So like clicks and makes clicks and can figure out her surroundings. And so I was looking up stuff like that, and we have actual cases where people have done this. Blind people can ride a bike down the street and avoid stuff, and incredible.
Yeah.
So under like a brain scan, I think EKG's brain, right?
Yes.
Okay. So under that, when they're clicking, the auditory system does not light up at all. The visual cortex does.
EKG and ECG is a non-invasive test that records the electrical activity of the heart.
Okay, whichever one does the brain.
Brain scan is PET scans, MRI, CT scans.
Okay, so using those to figure out the brainwave side, not the heart. They're showing that it's lighting up the visual cortex, so they're seeing, right? So they're just translating a wavelength of sound instead of a wavelength of light.
Sure.
And the same part of the brain is putting together a picture of what the surroundings are. So that to me is fascinating, that they're technically seeing and what the brain is pulling off from the data it can collect. But it's bypassing the auditory. It's not like they hear it and translate it and notice the room. It's click and see. And so then the other third one that I find really interesting is in multiple personality stuff, or split personality, where different personalities will have different allergies. And a different personality could have like type 1 diabetes. Same pancreas, same bloodstream, same everything. Have they
ever like really like
I think we have tests of all this.
Really?
Yeah. So this is one of those, like, especially then split brain stuff gets weird where we separate people. Lots of different stuff with synesthesia and things that happen. And so between those type of three things, between this possible telepathic connection to whatever frequency these kids are tuned into that we can't all hear, or there's too many other distractions based on what we focus on.
Yeah.
And so that's what he was saying. Like, one of the kids was explaining, he's like, this is why the social settings are so hard. Like, kid's pretty articulate for being able to have to spell on this thing. But he's like, I can hear everyone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
I can't turn it off. And so you hear everyone's thoughts, not just the ones they want to communicate.
We interrupt this episode with a shameless self-promotion. Do you want to build thick, sidewalk-splitting slabs of muscle? Let me introduce you to Jack Street. Get access to the same tried and true training methods I followed during my 10 years in the NFL, all to walk into training camp at 308 pounds at sub 8% body fat. Punch your ticket to the gain train and join thousands of residents already following Jack Street. Head to powerathletehq.com/Jack Street and claim your 7-day free trial today. Now back to the show. I have 2 teenage daughters, and dealing with teenagers, the hilarious thing is, like, you know, they're home for the summer, so they're like doing like different sports things and this, and so they were sitting there watching TV, and as I'm writing, all of a sudden they started screaming, and like the noises they were making, I was like, what the fuck are you guys screaming about? It just it was a lot.
I bet having, well, and they're twins, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's already some weird code language between them that I can't quite grasp.
Yeah, no, and they spend a whole bunch of time, and then like also their weird communication. So now kids don't, like, if they're sitting here, they don't communicate like this. They communicate
text
through their phones, and it's usually through like sending Snapchat pictures of each other. And then they start screaming about something. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Oh, she took a picture of me when I'm like, stop this. Give me these phones. I'm going to fucking break these things. Be normal. Stop being weird.
Dude. So that's something that I think is actually one of the bigger culprits behind why people are so offended, is I think because we're transitioned to a text-based culture. If we're a text-based culture, we eliminate 85% of the nonverbal cues, which is how we communicate.
Yeah.
And so if it's just text-based, what people tend to do is read things in the context and set and mood they're in.
Yeah.
take things personally because people
Key and
are
Peele
offended.
have a great one on this.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
Oh, where he's texting and he's like, hey, do you even want to go to the bar? He's like, oh yeah, sure. And the guy's like, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And the one guy's mad, and the other guy's like, oh, look how nice he is.
But that's also not how we read news articles. That's how we digest most information is text based through emails and anything else. I mean, man, I remember working at a place and we had one of the ladies that worked in like accounting or in like billing or one of those. Sweet lady. I've done nothing but enjoy any time I was ever around her in person. But man, for whatever reason, when I got emails from her, the voice I read those emails in was so fucking harsh.
Yes.
And I built this narrative in my head around her being this really overpowering fucking like bitch. And she wasn't. But part of that's just due to your perception of the mood you're in and how you read it. And like you read it at the time that they didn't send it.
Yeah.
It's not a great long-term way to communicate. And if we lose the ability to interpersonal communicate, that's going to be really tricky. And if kids can't speak to each other eye to eye, if they can't, I noticed younger generations than me typically watch everything with subtitles.
Yes. Yes.
And so part of that to me is that easier than making eye contact with the people on screen and paying attention.
Oh, you think that's the reason that they watch that?
I wonder if it's, I don't know if there's a conscious choice to do that, but I think it is less anxiety driven to stare at the bottom of the screen and just read the thing.
We started watching with subtitles because Kate is losing her hearing in her one ear. So her, I want to say she has like 2 holes in her eardrum.
Oh shit.
So something, but she's like losing hearing in one ear. So if we ever watch any TV, we just watch with the subtitles.
We'll do subtitles because Bonnie, if Bonnie gets stoned, she goes accent deaf and like just can't fucking understand anybody.
That's
English
actually,
accent. Like she was like, I don't know anything they're saying.
So what's funny is I randomly send Bonbon.
She tells me she's like I still get like mid-century modern and house stuff.
Yeah,
I
read this whole article about conversation pits in houses. How like do you remember this? Back in the 60s?
We did that like mid-century stuff where they do the sunken living room vibe. Yeah,
and so I read this whole thing on it, and all of a sudden I thought I'm like Bonbon would love this, and I sent it to her. And she's like, I love this.
I do too. I would love to build a house and have
just a conversation pit. Like no phone, sit down. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think less TVs, probably better. I do think the TV is an interesting like transition of, again, a really temporary timeline as far as humans are concerned.
My kids don't watch TV.
Well, so let's not say TV. Let's say up until when do you think the radio got into people's houses? 20s?
Yeah.
So 100 years?
Yeah.
Prior to that, like there's no third party that ever speaks in your house. It's only family. Like forever. And so that's a weird transition.
No, because they used to have those different individuals that would travel around and tell stories. Like the storytellers.
Yeah, but they wouldn't come in your home.
Yeah, they would. You would bring them in and they would like sing tales, sing songs, and you would feed them. So there was I don't
think I've ever heard of this.
So I had a professor in college. This guy, I cannot remember his name for the life of me. I'd have to look it up. But he was one of like the Jeopardy champion winners.
Okay.
Had a blue Corvette that said like Jeopardy won on the back.
For him.
And he was a rhetoric guy, but he had like a PhD in like oral tradition. And he had gone and sat with like Bedouin tribes. And what would happen was there was different groups in the Bedouin tribes that were like storytellers, and they would go sing tales. And he goes, and he like, we recorded this where they would sing these tales that would like, they would, basically tell these stories and sing these songs for like 8 hours at a time. And then they would get fed, they would get slept,
So what are the typical stories surrounding?
They were all heroic epics.
Okay.
So like if you look at every civilization, like we only have one copy of Beowulf, which is awful. I don't know if you knew like the all the copies were destroyed. Like we have one. Okay. So the story of Beowulf, and I think it like partially was burned.
Yeah, the sagas or anything.
Yeah, so like the Iliad, the Odyssey, every culture, and you can go look, every culture has a heroic epic as its first recorded, written down text.
What is ours?
What do you mean for the English?
What would be or American? Would we have?
No, I don't think we do. But if you here, I'll look it up. Heroic epics across cultures.
So with that, then something I would find interesting would be, I do believe
in ancient Greece it was the Iliad, the Odyssey, and then in India it was called the Mahabharata, and the Ramani in Sanskrit, and then there was in Mesopotamia there was Epic of Gilgamesh. In Persia there was the Book of Kings. Medieval Europe was the Song of Roland. There was Beowulf and the Lady of Sid. Finland, there is Kelvava, which is a Finnish tale. In Africa, there's one. In Japan, there's a tale. They're all heroes' journeys. They're all good versus evil. There's all about like fighting the good fight. There's supernatural elements. Like every civilization as their first recorded written deal is a heroic epic. And the theory goes that, these individuals Homer probably didn't write the Iliad and the Odyssey. Right. Homer's just the guy that listened to the story. Yeah, he wrote it down. But the reason being in this course, the Bedouin tribes had these heroic epics about creation and this, and they would come for 7 or 8 days and they would sing 50, 60 hours. So the
community would come together. Basically. Okay.
And then he recorded them and then left and then came back 10 years later and went to a different one. And these people showed up and they sung the song and he went through and compared them and they were identical. Oh. So the I am a pentameter, somehow triggers in the brain and they can memorize massive amounts of information. These people
so it's almost like being under hypnosis anyway.
Yeah, but they were able to, sing these songs where he's there was different groups that were not, obviously we're interconnected, but not. And he goes, and there was massive amounts of time. And he goes, when we recorded them, they were identical. So they had memorized these over the centuries, and this was their function. But this is what the people did, and they would come. I mean, if you watch, I'm a huge fan of Vikings, the TV show. Yeah, the whole Legend of Ragnar Lothbrok, and Bjorn Ironside, and was it
I think I spent too long in the Highland Games, man, to get too into that show.
But the stories are kind of a collection of stories. There's the Legend of Ragnar Lothbrok, and these are really stories that existed. But there are some pretty amazing tales, and they all fit within this. There are always these tortured souls that pride before the fall.
Hero's journey, man.
Yeah, it's all the hero's journey. But this is universal through all of them. They all follow the same kind of script.
We also have a Noah story everywhere. I think there's 200 cultures that have some story of a great flood and a being coming from the sea or the sky to help rebuild civilization afterwards. Scattered around the world, everywhere.
What do you think about the giant trees? Have you ever got into that one?
Oh, so that one. So Devil's Tower and everything being these giant trees.
Because in the Bible, they talked about cutting all those trees. And I don't remember why they cut the trees.
I don't remember that either.
Why did
the original point I was getting to about the radio was that, it's only pretty recent that we've allowed this third party.
So in the Bible, the reasons the trees were cut was so that the people wouldn't have any place to hide when the flood came.
Huh.
So they were the removing of the giant trees.
Oh.
So there were, So as they go through and they show all these different massive.
Oh, there's a bunch of really interesting ones.
Yeah.
There's plenty of them that you're like, huh.
That looks like a huge tree.
It does. At this point, I can't tell what's AI and what's not, but definitely I don't have any clue what really happened on Earth at this point. We've been wrong a lot. What I don't think the current narrative is true. I don't think we've been on a linear path to create civilization to the point we are here, that this is the best we've done so far.
Well, here's another thing which doesn't make sense to me. How is it for the entirety of eternity, we were pretty much stone structures in this, and you look at kind of the advancements, right? So you think about this kind of linear, and then all of a sudden something happens.
6,000 years?
No, sooner. We have the Industrial Revolution. Right around, let's say, the late 1800s, early 1900s. And then we go from the Wright brothers, who flew, 1914? They take off, you see the thing in flight, to rockets to the moon in less than 50 years.
So using that example, I think, can kind of give some insight to why the oldest stuff in Egypt would be the best built, and we wouldn't see a lot of the drafts. Because if they happened over 50 years, like it's essentially nothing. That like if we mastered a skill in 50 years, like we did with flight, we don't have a lot of evidence of the Wright brothers' planes laying around.
Oh yeah, we do.
Well, not if something happens to us.
Oh yeah,
like
but
what's going to move in and find our archaeology and decide like what was what?
Like when we were in DC, we went to the museum that has all that.
Sure, but like it won't survive.
Like, well, yeah, it won't survive. I mean, literally, like the Wright brothers plane is there, and then they got like the fastest jet on the history, and it's like
on the Smithsonian. Yeah.
I mean, and it's not that far.
No, it's like yesterday.
50, 60 years. Like we went from
a generation.
Yeah,
that's one generation of people.
So my dad, I remember my dad telling me, he goes, when they were little, he goes, we would sit around and they would watch the radio.
Right.
Right. And I was like, he's like, so we would like sit around, they would turn the radio on and they would sit around and just stare at the radio. And I was like, why'd you stare at the radio? He's like, it's because where the sounds were coming from. And then he remembered like the first time he saw a TV. So the fact that like my kids, obviously knew their grandfather, like my dad. I mean, so there's two funny things that I have kept alive that my kids still do that come from my dad. One is we call the remote control the clicker. Because
they used to.
Yeah, because you remember you hit the button and the thing would go click, click, click. And I told the kids, I'm like, the clicker actually physically moved something in the TV and it made a clicking noise. So they call the remote control the clicker.
I love it.
And then we refer to the refrigerator as the icebox.
The icebox, man. I remember.
Because my dad always said, he's like, oh, put it in the icebox.
Put it in the icebox.
And I was like, what's an icebox? He's like, well, back in the day, they didn't have refrigeration. So you
Iceman would come to town
and
he would
put it in. Yeah. And he goes, the back of your thing would open up. The guy would slip ice in and he would deliver ice every couple of days into the icebox.
Crazy.
So I call the refrigerator the icebox and the clicker.
I love it.
And my kids will be like, oh, is it in the icebox? And then they like, so my daughter was like, yeah, I went over to my friend's house and we were looking for the remote control. I'm like, I found the clicker. And they were like, what's a clicker? And so these two things I've kept alive.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting how quickly we've allowed that many other voices into our home. Like to go from radio, which would be like a third party, and even these stories and tales of people coming around, but then like it always runs. That like, this is a great way for us to get news to everyone. This makes sense. And then like, well, how do we get them to listen to it more? Well, let's play music. Let's do entertainment. Let's tell sports. And then that turns into TVs. Then we have one in every room to where now I constantly walk around with one.
We have one TV.
Right. Well, how many? This counts.
Well, think about the fact that the entirety of human existence is in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
So this is another thing I was talking to my kids about.
But we don't have a great ability to decipher information.
Well, so I fucked up on this. When I was in college, I had this theory that the difference of intelligence was opportunity of information. So certain people are smarter than others, not for genetic reasons. It's just their access to information. That the more information you have access to, the more books, the more this, the more like this. I believe people were smarter. And I wrote a whole paper on this. And now we have the entirety of the world's existence in the palm of our hands and people have never been dumber.
Yeah.
So if I could go back and find that paper, I would totally have given myself an F and rewrite that paper.
So what do you think's the difference? Do you think curiosity? Do you think critical thinking? Like why is it some people get trapped in letting the same tool ruin their life and other people use it to actually use the information to better themselves?
I think this is a lot like the Roman, like the Roman mob to some extent, right? Like the idea of the way that they controlled the mob was through, the death of the spectacle of the Colosseum and the bread, right? Like, like the circus, the Roman circus was able to keep them. I think what they've done is they've effectively added so much complexity. And I don't think it was something nefarious. I think it's just, opportunity and capitalism. But there's so much for us to be distracted that we can't really keep our eye on the prize. And I think the people that are most successful are the people that are the least distracted, the people that have avoided it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it comes down towards mentorship.
So
if like I was I don't know if you saw this, but there's a 25-year-old kid that has a company. It's called Rainmaker.
Okay.
Right here in Austin, they seed rain. So he seeded like 2 days ahead before this massive storm.
Oh.
And so the idea was that these guys have been seeding, trying to do weather modifications here in Texas. And then all of a sudden we get a 1,000-year storm. So like whether or not but the kid was on Sean Ryan's show. He's like 25 years old. I think Peter Thiel is his mentor.
Okay.
So pretty interesting. Like if you have the right mentors, so the right people, it's been like, you're pretty sharp. You should get into this. I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna get this. I mean, think about what you can accomplish if you have an intelligent individual that has access to some money, that able to point you in the right direction and fan that fire.
So with that idea, and especially like starting at 25 and starting to really build that comprehension and what problem solving and what you want to point at. I don't know at what point, based on what you and I are talking about, like GPT, with like uploading your who I am thing, at some point that improves to where that's basically a consciousness, right? That like it has your grasp of how you would perceive the world, which would in fact be your consciousness.
Yeah.
So what happens when we get good enough up that we have Elon's consciousness in a thing? We have Einstein, Tesla. What if they get 500 years to solve problems with automatic access to all the data and can decipher it faster? And put them all together working on a problem.
The one thing I worry about, and I heard Bill Gates, and I don't know about you, but Bill Gates absolutely fucking, like every ounce of my being like goes off when I hear Bill Gates.
I don't like anything.
Yeah, I don't like anything ever
got
comes
a
out
real
of his
creep
mouth.
vibe off of him.
Real
man.
bad. Like if I was in a bar or a restaurant and he was in there at the bar, I would leave.
One of my favorite things I've ever fucking heard, it was Rogan talked about. He's like, I think I could push a finger through him. He's like, I ain't taking health advice from that guy. I think if I fucking tried hard enough, I could get through that guy.
But I heard him on an interview where he was talking about, the advancements in AI. He's like, AI is going to take every job. It's going to be amazing. And he kept talking about it like, we're not going to need as many people and this and this. And the only thing I'm thinking about is, where does he think those people are going?
So that's something I truly wonder about too. And I don't know if this is like a cycle of society over time.
But he's talking about like, we won't need these jobs. We won't need this and this and this. And I'm like, you got 9 billion people. And then I saw a pretty interesting graph where they talked about 60% of the world's population is between Pakistan, India, and China.
Yeah, there's like a small area that 10% of the world's population like lives in.
Yeah, but the majority of the population, 2/3, like 66% to 60%, live in Pakistan, India, and China. 90% of the world's pollution comes from 6 rivers in that area. So they were talking about like the environmental load and destruction of the earth.
I think China's paperwork has said they're pretty clean.
Yeah. But they were basically relating that like most of the world's pollution and like microplastics and all this other stuff stem from this part of the world. And they were showing what that looked like if you just got rid of that. And so they were like, if 60% or roughly 2/3 of the world's population was gone,
it fixes a lot.
It fixes all of our problems.
It fixes a lot of the environmental issues.
All the environmental issues in the oceans. And then how long would it take for the earth to heal itself? Mm-hmm. They estimated like 25 to like 50 years for everything to heal itself. But then I'm thinking, how do you just get rid of 6 billion people?
So there's a really weird idea, right? Like, I got this from reading Nietzsche stuff and the idea of Darwin with the survival of the fittest.
Sure.
And that's great. As long as there is a survival threat that culls the weak, survival of the fittest works.
Sure.
But when survival is no longer the thing, it totally switches to survival of the herd. The herd will outproduce and reproduce the outliers 10x forever. And so because we don't have any threats, we have to then play to the middle. And so as we're a group of people that lean heavily on capitalism, and then everything is going toward the lowest common denominator. What eliminates the most inconvenience, easiest to get to, satiates the thing immediately. Yeah. And that's what the middle wants. And so I don't know if there's this weird cycle of history that at some point it has to switch back to survival of the fittest for the adaptation to correct like long term.
Yeah.
So I don't know who decides that these people aren't fit to go forward. It's not a decision I'm interested in making.
Well, I think that decision gets made for you when all of a sudden something happens. I'll just give you an example. The grid goes down.
Right.
Right. So
that's ugly.
All power goes down. Do you realize they said that if they were to blow up the grid, it would take a year to get the grid back up? In that year's time, they think we would hemorrhage roughly like 300 million people.
Oh, I think if we took the 330 million people that we have in this country and we had to require them to do a 100-yard swim to not die, we'd lose 85%. Seriously. Think about how many people are in hospitals. 51% can't fucking swim, period. So they're already out. We're already down
51% of this.
Look and see what the percentage of people can swim in the U.S. is.
I'm going to look this up.
It's a bad number.
Percentage of people that can. As I was typing in percentage of people, you know what the first one that came up with?
No.
With herpes.
Oh, yeah.
With green eyes, with blue eyes, who can bench 225, who are left-handed, who with autism, with HPV, born intersex with hazel eyes and ADHD.
Amazing.
Who can bench 225, 315, do a pull-up, roll their tongues, swim. Oh, there it is.
What's our percentage?
Approximately 54% of Americans cannot swim or lack basic swimming skills.
So we lose 160 million right away. 54%.
80% of Americans claim to be able to swim. While surveys indicate that 80%, a portion of those will fail basic swim tests. 54% of this country cannot swim.
I'm talking about a 100-yard swim, open water. Not even in a crowd, not panic, not an emergency situation. Just give from here to there.
Open ocean?
I don't care if it's a lake. Can't touch. I think we'd lose 80% of the people in our country.
So that would be our Hunger Games.
That would do it. 100-yard swim would pretty much knock it out.
So do you remember in it was Avengers Endgame where after
I didn't
Thanos,
see it, but I'm familiar.
Okay, so Thanos snapped his finger and half of the people go. It was pretty amazing. Like everything was super destitute. Everything, like when they were driving around, people like looked lost. Everything was overgrown. I don't know if that would be the case.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean,
like if 50% of the people disappeared?
Yeah.
And if we didn't have to deal with like the mental anguish of the loss and depression and those type of things?
Like they made it look like we had been through there was cars littering the streets and this whole thing. I don't think it would be like that. I mean, I think it'd be especially if a snap like that where like people are in the middle of doing stuff. And then all of a sudden you just disappear.
Yeah, the interstate system's a real disaster.
And then I guess people are just in
cars.
Downtown
Austin at 5 p.m. is a fucking nightmare, man. Cars 50% of them. Well, the cars don't disappear.
Yeah.
Just the people inside
disappear and the car's stuck.
Yeah,
and then like, who's moving this fucking car?
Well, and we have half as many people. Like my boss is gone. My guy who does this is gone. Who starts taking responsibility for how this works?
That's true.
It would be a disaster.
Yeah. You're like, who's the checker at the grocery store?
Yeah, we wouldn't immediately say like, listen, fill in.
Hey, I'm going to need you to no way.
You're the boss now. Like, what the fuck do you mean, man? I'm 20. like it would, yeah.
You know what? That the fact that you put it that way now, it makes sense. Why, when they, as they were going in, when the guy comes back and there's half the people, I mean, everything's fucked up. It looks like almost like
if you
Planet of the Apes, like you remember when Planet of the Apes, where all of a sudden like they're showing like the human ruins and everything's overgrown and fucked up. Like that's what I'm like. It looks like Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. I think there's a pretty good chance that like that's what most of the like Machu Picchu, Sacsayhuaman, the stuff in Peru. I think all that.
Did you go to Machu Picchu?
No, because I forgot my passport. I made a mistake traveling. It's the dumbest thing I've ever done, dude. On our first flight going to Peru from St. Louis to Atlanta, I had my passport like in my chest bag, and I put it on the floor by my feet and left it on the plane.
Oh,
got to the gate and realized I didn't have it. Like got to my next gate. And then they're going to leave. Like we didn't have time.
Yeah.
Go back. It ain't there. Go to baggage, get our baggage. Cause now I can't go to Peru anyway. Spend a couple hours in the airport and finally someone turned it in. I got my bag. Cash was gone in it, but the passports were there.
Oh, thank God.
So made a different run, and we ended up getting to Cusco a day late and missed Machu Picchu. I'd had a tour booked and everything. But the Sacsayhuaman site in Cusco is wild. And seeing the big 150 ton, I think that site's probably the most impressive thing.
Are those the heads?
No. Not the Olmecs. So Sacsayhuaman is a big megalithic stone site, and it's like this zigzag wall. And there's like 3 layers of it. It's huge. Some of the stones are 150 tons and it has 12 sides on it. Like different angles cut to fit just right there. And so my biggest struggle logically with this is, one, I don't know how they did it. I can't even speculate. But where I get weird is just, so clearly they can do with stone whatever the fuck they want. They can shape it, they can move it, they can transport it, they can put it in place. Clearly that's what's going on. I'm not going to speculate on how quickly they do it or any of that. But if you have the ability to cut stone however you'd like, you'd cut squares. It's easier. It would be faster. I don't have to put this 150 ton thing in place and be like, ooh, it's a little wiggly here. File her down. Why would you cut a 12-sided thing if you can clearly show me you have the technology to have cut these uniform into squares? Unless it's not harder. Is the only reason I could wrap my head around why you would waste the extra calories and effort to do it the other way. That's the biggest conundrum I have with any of the megalithic stuff, is if you could cut squares, which you're showing me you have the ability.
Yeah.
Why aren't you?
Well, I mean, look at all the pyramid stones are all squares.
They're not.
They're not all squares?
So the casing stones are slightly individual. Most of the stones are just square built pyramid, but once you get into temples and you get into stuff and actually see the megalithic stuff where it is polygonal shaped, or it's like,
yeah, there was that one, like, there was like a staircase where it looked like somebody had poured acid.
Where it looks like it's melted. Yeah. That's at, Dendera, I believe. And then there's another site.
Had a way. I firmly believe they had a way to heat the stones and melt them into place, because it's almost like the stones were hot and they put them in and they kind of like melted in place. There's
something else going on for sure. Plus all the weird nubs and whatever those are from that are found kind of on all these sites everywhere. Very, very interesting. The Osiris in Egypt is a site that I'd really like to get to, that's got these big stones that they found. I had a lot more questions coming back from Egypt than when I went, other than just being amazed.
So here's another question I have. How come we are fascinated by who built the pyramids and this, but yet when we go to Mexico and we go to like Brazil and you go all over South America, they're these megalithic structures and we don't really question who built those?
Because everyone knows about the pyramids. So few people even know what you're talking about.
So if you go in Brazil,
I'm familiar with it.
I mean, they've done all this LiDAR stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they estimate
populations of multiple millions.
Well, yeah, but the crazy part is that if you look at the Amazon rainforest, and I think Shanji told me this, he goes, there's like a special earth. There's like a black earth.
Yes.
That isn't original to
a different soil. Yeah.
They created, like, they terraformed, they did something unique so that the soil could grow. And also there's species there that are in like some, either they're not indigenous, clustered in weird ways, but there's something, and I'm going to fuck this up, but there's something unique in the Amazon that gives the appearance that it was terraformed and actually planted, not just grew.
Well, at some point it would have been more of a desert as well, right? Like the Amazon and the Sahara swap occasionally, I think.
Well, but if you look at like the black earth, and I can
the black earth thing is a really interesting
but
one.
They did something where they mixed the earth with something, and that made it much more fertile, but then also the way that it grew. So there's like Egypt is number one for me to go to. I also have never been to Rome, which I want to go, but going to the Amazon. So when we went to Brazil years ago, we went for the whole month of Carnival. The one place that I didn't.
How was that?
It was incredible.
Okay.
So we started in the north and we went to Salvador, which has these like huge samba float, or these huge floats. And then we went to Rio and then down south. But I didn't get to go to the Amazon. So like one of my bucket list items, and it's so funny. It's my favorite show that I've ever watched is River Monsters. I'm obsessed with Jeremy Wade.
Getting to swim in the Amazon was definitely like I'm going to do this, but I feel a little sketched out.
so Shanji, who has been on this podcast and, who I do jujitsu with and who's my coach, he's from Manaus, which is in the Amazon.
Okay.
That's where he grew up. And so Noah, who is his godson, who's Fredson and all these guys who I've since met, but they are from an area that's just north of there. And there's something called the Black River. So there's a river that flows into the Amazon. It's like there's all these like fingers. And so they have like an island home up like a couple hours. Oh, wow. And he's like, yeah, you take this boat. And so I kept asking him about arapaima, like those big prehistoric fish that Jeremy Wade caught. And so I've been trying to work this idea where I'm like, all right, I want to go, but I want to go fishing and try to catch an arapaima.
Oh man, what a fun thing that would be.
But like the Amazon in Brazil, that type of stuff, you have to go with somebody who's Brazilian and from that part of the world.
Yeah.
Like you're just not showing up. And this is the thing I always wonder, for you going to these different locations, like you guys are just showing up. It's not like you guys necessarily know anybody.
But a lot of these trips
are planned.
Yeah, they're planned. And we have a host and a guide and things like that. And it's been really easy. I mean, Turkey or any of that, we have a guide. Going to the Amazon, I mean, we were going to the place, Arcana, to do ayahuasca. So like they've got a bus driver that gets us from Iquitos.
Why did you pick that place?
I wanted to go to the Amazon, period. And I knew that I had been kind of an interest in like, it's probably time to go revisit medicine again and do that sort of thing.
Had you done
ayahuasca before? Yeah, in Costa Rica at Rhythmia.
Oh, you went to Rhythmia.
That was the first time in 2019.
Oh.
And so this year was the second time of going. And
was it a better experience, worse experience?
Different. As far as strength of the medicine goes, I'm not sure I got anything out of the first trip now that I've had this one, if I'm honest.
So the Rhythmia might be a little watered down.
I don't think it's watered down. I had a really positive experience, absolutely changed my life, total perspective shift on a number of things that like never came back around. Very powerful experience. This was definitely a different thing. And I pushed drinking the medicine more than anyone else did in the group.
Shocker.
Nah, no shit.
You're like,
yeah, thanks, brain.
I really want to have this experience.
Well, part of it is like, I mean, the uncomfortability that comes with psychedelics, I've enjoyed.
Well, also there's a unique thing about you where if you're going to do something, you're going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like you said, if I'm going to the Amazon, I'm going to swim.
Totally.
And so one of the things that brought up is I asked Shanji about that because, he grew up there and like they swam in the water and the whole thing. And he's like, oh yeah, diving in the Amazon, if you're not like the same thing is I tell people like growing up in Southern California, surfing since the time we were little kids, like I go out in the ocean and I'm used to swimming in the ocean. People that aren't used to swimming in the ocean, they get real fucking nervous.
The ocean's strange, dude. That weird, the bike thing where I rode that bike from the Bahamas to Florida. I'm glad that like I was above water, but like you're over 3,000 feet for like most of it.
Yeah.
That's way too much. A mile? No, a mile's 5,000, but yeah, 3,200 feet of water.
But yeah, Shanji was saying diving in the Amazon. He's like, it's a different deal, especially at the Blackwater.
The main river. So we had some like tributaries and like little things we were fucking around in and stuff like that's where I swam. The main river is a lot. It's very intimidating. Like it's really wide. It is ripping and there's just trees just always going down. And so like, fuck that. And like being in the boat in it was cool. And you'd see the like weird pink river dolphins and it's cool. We saw monkeys in the trees. We saw like a bright red macaw. It's a really weird thing to see in nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, that's not someone's. That's just why
random.
Is that here?
Yeah, that's cool.
You shouldn't be here. You look weird. Saw sloth, saw big hand-sized tarantula.
Did you know giant sloth inhabited North America?
Those things are terrifying. We were chatting about it before you came in, dude. Have you seen the tunnels they've done?
Yeah.
Fuck all that.
Yeah. Into the stone.
Monsters, dude.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that we're seeing now in New Mexico and White Sands where they're digging up the stuff where we're seeing both megafauna and people around at the same time.
Well, the theory goes that, humans weren't around during the megafauna, but
we don't know.
Yeah. And then they found like the bones that had like saw marks in them. So people were actually doing something.
Well, that again falls back to my like, what do we really have a grasp on? Especially if we start talking about like outside of Earth. Like, we don't know our history and what happened here. Us trying to guess what some exoplanet has in another galaxy, I feel like it's a bit of a fucking stretch. I think we can have some decent information to get data from, a frequency and like whatever radiation or we can track or any of that. But like, we don't know what happened here. I think trying to speculate of what's happened somewhere else is probably a stretch.
Well, think about if there was like a massive solar storm or like a huge something like cataclysmic event, right? Everything that we have is on computers. I mean, everything's gone. Like all the circuits are gone. Everything's gone. Like the entirety of our human existence. It's not like we're putting those on like stone tablets.
No, I don't think I stick around real long to play that game. Like if like back to the grid shutting down. And what do you think? There's 48 hours there before things get really nasty.
Yeah, I think you got 48. I think it's 72 hours. You're basically having to be pretty aggressive to like, if you want to try to survive this thing, you're going to probably have to become like fucking road warrior.
And like those people who think they've got the stuff, like you'll become targets.
Yeah. And
the masses show up and it's cute to be like, I've got ammunition or any of this, but like hundreds of people showing up is a problem.
That's why you use like my mini excavator with the mulcher.
Oh,
you just put a fucking steel place on that. Like
just killdozer?
Well, so I,
fucking maniac.
Yeah, I'm a fucking genius. So whenever we do any excavating here, and I basically have that mulcher on the front of my cat, the violence at which it destroys wood, like it shoots fucking like pieces of wood like 100 yards. Like you're not standing anywhere near that thing. So like I'm absolutely going through and you're running this thing, whoa, like fucking annihilating things. And the only thing that comes to mind is every zombie movie is null and void with
if we have enough of these.
Yeah.
But then we run out of fuel.
Well, if you just had like 1,000 like track loaders with mulchers, and like it runs for a long time with the diesel, and you just fucking lined them up, you could have as many zombies as you want.
I'm afraid you'd end up like the marginal line. They just go around it, man.
No, what's I was thinking. You just put them a hole in a line and just go forward. Like every zombie movie is null and void.
Funnel them through the hot gates.
Dude,
300.
There's no way. Like the violence at which I've excavated this property, if you had zombies, there's no way. They just fucking run through.
I think the biggest issue with that becomes like, that's the scary thing about the zombie thing, right? That like on the individual basis, they're not terribly a problem. Slow lumbering things. They're not runners. They're slow lumbering whatevers. And it's the mass that's the problem. Like, did you ever read World War Z?
No, I didn't read the book. I saw the movie.
The audiobook for it's brilliant. It's really, really good. So the movie's terrible. But so the book's preference is told like through the course of the war from this journalist who's interviewing people after World War Z, and they're telling their experience of how it started. They're talking to like one of the initial doctors in China who's found the outbreak. Mm-hmm. And so all of it's done with like these really talented voice actors. Henry Rollins does one of the characters. Alan Alda does one of the characters. It's great. I can't believe they didn't just make a mini series of like each of these tales for World War Z on like AMC whenever Walking Dead was really crushing it. This should have been made like an episodic series. The book's phenomenal. And that idea that like just the hordes is what you're dealing with. And so like the final stand in the book all kind of happens out in the desert, mm-hmm. In the US at least. And like we've just built a circle and we're making enough noise to call everything in that way. And people are just shooting like in rows the way we did in colonial times. And it's until you run out of bullets and then the next guy shows up and they're just on 8-hour shifts, never stopping. And like that's eventually how it goes until you have to hunt them all down and figure out what's left. But like the mass of it becomes the issue that like, oh, we don't have enough bullets.
Yeah.
We don't have enough artillery. Like tanks aren't really useful against.
Well, I remember in the World War Z movie, remember he's like flying in the helicopter and they're like stacking their bodies.
Yeah, they're all runners and crazy in that.
Yeah, like they're pretty agile.
Yeah, see, you don't need to make them that more scary whenever you have the masses. Like the mass part is the scary part. This like half the population of New York. Let's say that is what turns. And then how quickly that thing would spread in that type of an environment with people. So now you have, well, how many people live in Manhattan? A shit ton.
Yeah.
Or say Cairo. Cairo has the same amount of people as LA.
Well, I mean, there's more people in Orange County than live in Australia.
Right. So they're probably all right.
Yeah. But I always think about like Australia as a country. You're like, I mean, the majority of like all live in the out, but it's about the size of like Orange County.
Yeah. It's rednecky. It's great.
Yeah. I'm always like, that'd be a pretty good place to live.
I think Australia would probably be good. I think New Zealand would probably be pretty mellow.
Yeah.
So yeah, massive
26 million in Australia and in Orange County. I'm sorry, not Orange County, in Southern California. Population of Southern California. Yeah. So basically Southern California is the size of same population as
right.
As
so
Australia.
Like how do you combat an 80% turnover of that into a thing that now needs to be exterminated? Not only that, only die from headshots.
It's a lot of headshots.
That's not how you train people. People don't train to shoot headshots. You shoot center mass.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. How many bullets are wasted? Like, I mean, you couldn't keep up. And so that's the weird thing about that. I really, really recommend that book as a fiction.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
So of all the places that you traveled in the last year, what would you say is like kind of like things that you would have to see?
Sacsay Woman in Cusco. Cusco is a really cool city. I would happily go back and spend probably a month in Cusco. That Basilica Cistern in Istanbul is pretty top notch. Catacombs in Paris. The 2 megalithic sites in Malta, Gigantia, was really cool. And then those are interesting. And then in Greece, we checked out some of the old Minoan stuff. And so the Minoan stuff's interesting because like they had a written language that we can't decipher called like Linear A.
Yep.
So again, whatever the fuck they were up to. I mean, you know how long you're around to get get a written language that you can all agree upon?
Yeah.
That's way down the path.
And think about how smart they'd be that the fact that it grew out of nothing.
Allegedly.
So, allegedly. But they like the Minoans and a lot of these different, like they're kind of like landlocked. Like it's like the Sumerians, like there's nothing before and after. They don't have any way to decipher it. So like I said, that Zachariah Sitchin being like all of a sudden he could speak it.
Yeah. I can sniff quite a bit of bullshit on
but that was my biggest issue with it. I'm like, God, the fact that this guy's done these translations and then you kind of dig in and then there was a website that I think it was like Zachariah Sitchin's a liar.
Wrong.
Yeah, it was wrong or something. So then it goes back and it's like, these are great stories, but there's no indicator that he could actually speak this language.
None. Chances are he can.
No.
But also, one of the brilliant things of being a charlatan is realizing no one can. Well, and so can you fake enough credibility for people to believe you can?
Well, dude, I think we could talk for hours, but I'm going to end it there. So, dude, thank you so much.
Brother, I love being here, man. It's always a pleasure coming in to just get to hang out.
I fired up the barrel.
Beautiful.
So I figured we'll go over there and go see what gets on.
Let's get hot.
Thanks, dude.
Later, man.
See you. Hey there, Power Athlete Nation. Big shout out to all the heavy hitters who stuck around till the final whistle. If you've been soaking in the knowledge bombs and epic tales we've been dropping for free, here's your chance to be a game changer. Swing by kofi.com/powerathlete and toss a few bucks our way to keep the podcast fueled and firing on all cylinders. That's ko-fi.com/powerathlete. Your support makes a difference. See ya.